Hello, and welcome back to the Top 100 Horror Movies review series. The list is chosen by Fangoria readers. I have the scratch-off poster. I'm not sponsored by Fangoria, I just think it's a cool poster, and if you like horror movies or you want to get into horror movies, or you have a friend that likes horror movies, I highly recommend getting it, because it does have a lot of great movies on there. At least as far as the ones that I've seen. So yeah, let's just get right into it. Today's movie is Suspiria from 1977. So the spoiler-free story is on the first day at a new school, a woman is met with murderous drama, is how I referred to it. But I will be getting into spoilers, so consider this your spoiler warning. Cool. So the non-spoiler free story, the little that there is, honestly, it's very disconnected. Like, the order of events could happen in really any order, except for, like, the very end, I guess. So it starts with a woman arriving at an airport, getting into a taxi and going to the ballet school where she's going to be learning ballet. And so as she gets there, there's another girl running out, and she says something that we can't hear, and then she runs off into the forest. And then the girl, Susie, first girl who got to the airport, went to the school, her name's Susie. She tries to get in, the door's locked, and so she does the intercom, and the woman on the other side is like, no, I don't know who you are, go away. And so she goes away to a hotel, I guess. And then we follow the other girl who was running out into the forest, and she checks into a hotel, and the woman there's like, oh, you got kicked out of school? Oh, don't worry about it, don't beat yourself up about it. I got kicked out of school many times. Like, since kindergarten, I've been kicked out of school. And so she was like, oh, okay, cool. And so she goes to the bathroom, and while she's in the bathroom, the window slams shut, and she's like, or no, the window slams open, and she's like, huh, that's weird. And then the other one comes in and is like, why don't you just close it? Like, stop screaming, stop being so scared, like, it's just the wind, dude. And then she closes it. And then the girl, we'll remember her name, because she's not really, well, she is relevant to the story, but she's not in past this next minute. She looks in the window and she sees these two eyes appear, and then a hand crashes through the window, smashes her head through the window, and she's still not dead. So the person comes through the window, drags her up to, like, the attic area, or, like, she runs to the attic area, and the guy follows her, and then he stabs her and throws her through the stained glass ceiling. Meanwhile, she's screaming and making a bunch of noise, so the woman that she's staying with is like, oh my gosh, there's a murder taking place, help, someone help. And she's like banging on the doors of the rest of the hotel. And then she goes downstairs and sees the body come through the stained glass with a rope tied around her neck, and she's like, oh my freaking goodness. And then the body falls, and like it with the rope around the neck. But then, like, the entire glass ceiling shatters, and, like, beams come down, like, steel beams come down. And so the woman who's like, oh my goodness, the murder, is stabbed in the arm by a piece of glass. Oh, my bad. Stabbed in the face by a piece of glass as well. I forgot about that part. And, like, stabbed in two places in the abdomen by a steel beam. So it's a bit of a goofy movie, just as far as the death and stories and stuff goes. Susie goes back to the school the next day, and they were like, oh, we expected you last night. And she was like, yeah, I tried. And they were like, no, get the frick out of here. And so they're like, oh, so sorry about that. But you're here now. That's good. So let's just take you up to meet the rest of the girls, and oh, I guess you don't have a room, or your room at the school is not ready. So you can pay like $50 to stay with another girl. Like, you can borrow a pair of ballet shoes for now. And she's like, okay, yeah, I guess that's fine. And so she gets acquainted with some of the girls. She meets a girl named Sarah, who is probably like the main side character of the book, movie. She gets ready for her first day of ballet training, and while she's warming up, they're like, oh, your room's ready now if you want to go. And she's like, nah, I'm chill with Olga, is the name of the girl who's the girl who's like renting out the room. And don't worry, she's relevant for an entire that one scene. So she was very important to set up. Oh yeah, so it's her first day of ballet training. They're like, hey, the room's ready, and like, we'll give it to you for free since like it's a boarding school. It's like including your tuition. And she's like, nah, I'm chill with Holga. And they're like, oh, you sure? And she's like, yeah. And they're like, oh, okay. So after that, then she goes to actually start like the actual class. And on the way, she sees a freaky looking young boy who just like gives everything the death glare throughout the entire movie. And she's like, huh, that's weird, I guess. And he's with a woman who's polishing a shard of glass, and then the shard of glass catches light, directs it right into her eye, and then she gets a brain hemorrhage and passes out during the ballet class. Also, the piano player is blind, which is going to be relevant for later on, just for the body count. So yeah, she gets a brain hemorrhage in the middle of the ballet class, so they take her to her room that she didn't want to go to in the boarding hall, and the room is conveniently right next to Sarah's, the one that she met earlier. So she is there, and the doctor's like, oh yeah, you should like drink wine to like boost, like to help with anemia, and like it makes her blood thicker and blah blah blah. And so she's like, oh, okay, cool. And then she's brushing her hair that night, and maggots start falling from the ceiling, and she looks up and the entire ceiling's covered with maggots, and she's like, oh my goodness, and she runs out of the room. And then the rest of the girls are like, oh my goodness, and run out of their rooms, and so it's just like chaos. And then the teacher is like, what is happening? Where are these coming from? Let's go up to the attic to take a look. And it's this box of rotted food. And so they're like, okay, we'll get that taken care of in the morning. For now, y'all can sleep in the gymnasium. And so while they're doing that, Sarah's talking to Susie and starts telling her about like, oh yeah, the directress is like super creepy, and like one time I was just like chilling, and then I heard her in the room next to me doing this weird sort of like breathy, like creepy snoring. And Susie's like, okay, that's cool, I guess. After that, so the blind guy has a dog, seeing eye dog probably, is what it looks like. So the blind guy comes to the school to play piano, and he puts his dog outside because he has like the cane and stuff just for inside the school. And then while the dog's outside, the woman and the death glare child walk past, and the child stares at the dog, and then the dog attacks him. We only see that child one other time in the movie, and he doesn't look harmed in any way, shape, or form. And the teacher bursts into the class where the blonde guy is playing piano, and she's like, dude, your dog just like bit off this kid's hand. Like, he took a chunk out of this kid. We gotta either put him down or get you the frick out of here. I don't want to see him even close to the school anymore. And the blind guy's like, what? That's impossible. This puppy, he's mad chill. Like, he's the best dog. And she's like, don't care, get out. And then she like picks up his cane and coat that's like on a chair next to the piano, and she just like tosses it on the ground, and he is like, you suck, I hate you, essentially, with more language in it. But he gets out, and nothing really interesting, or nothing really important happens until the next scene he's in, where he's at this bar, and then he leaves the bar with his dog, and then he's walking through this like open courtyard area, and then his dog starts barking, and he's like, what, who's there? And he just starts like yelling out like, who's there, who's there? And then this scene lasts for like 2 minutes. It's really long, and it's like building up tension, and then at the end, like, his dog's just like standing next to him, just like barking, and so like nothing really like is happening. It's just like standing around for 2 minutes in an open courtyard, and the dog jumps up and bites his neck and eats him. So I think that's a really long scene for just little, like, it has nothing to do with the story in any way, shape, or form. The dog's never seen again. The only time he's mentioned again is like, first that one girl died, and now this, like, this is getting weird. So then Sarah's talking to Susie more about like witches and junk, and Susie's not feeling it. She just wants to go to sleep. And then Sarah's like, okay, so I took notes about like the witches and junk, and like the teachers say they're leaving every night, but the door's on the left and their steps are going to the right because I have freaking like echolocation or something. And so like this is weird, and I'm like counting the steps so that I can know where they go. So like, yeah. And Susie's like, just let me go to sleep. And then Susie's asleep, and then Sarah's like, dude, the notes are gone. And Susie's just asleep and is not waking up, does not care at all. And Sarah's like, no, the notes are gone, Susie, wake up, please. And then the worst chase scene ever happens, where Sarah like runs out into the hallway and like goes up to the attic, and then someone's like following her, and then she goes up to the attic, and she's like walking around like being all sneaky and junk, and then the killer pops out of nowhere with a straight razor and like cuts at her, and she's like, ah! And then she crashes through a couple of glass doors, and then goes through another door that opened up mysteriously, and then she locks the door just like with a like falling lock. And so the killer's like, oh, so I have the straight razor, right? Well, what if I just unlatch the door? But he does the worst possible job at it. Like, he has the straight razor, and he's moving his wrist, which is moving the straight razor up, but not enough, so it keeps falling out, as opposed to him just going, he's going like, and it's so stupid. And she's just like sitting in the corner, just like, well, she's locked herself in this room with a, well, I'd say easily accessible window. But it's not like that easy. It's like up kind of high, but there are like boxes all around, and she's like, and for about like 20 seconds until she's like, oh, I can stack the boxes and get through the window. And so she very slowly, because like she has very limited time, like the killer like is on the other side of the door, but the door's locked, and the killer is not smart enough to just open the latch. And so she takes her time moving the boxes over and climbing up, and then she finally does get through the window, and she climbs onto the boxes on the other side because that's convenient for the story. And so she sees a door on the other side, like she's on the boxes here, the door's here, and then you can't see the floor here. Well, she can, and she does. She looks down and she's like, okay, so I just need to jump to that door. And then she just does a little hop right into barbed wire, and she's just like flailing around, and then the killer comes from that door and slices her neck, and that's the end of her. And then after that, the teacher's like, oh yeah, Sarah's missing. And so Susie calls Sarah's friend, who we've never heard from before and we've never seen. I might not have been paying attention, but I don't think we ever heard about him. And so she calls him up and it's like, hey, can we talk about like witches and junk? So they meet up and they're like talking about witches and junk, and he's telling her about like the history of the school and how it's like built on the occult or something. And then he calls over this other friend, like this older friend that he has, and he's like, hey, she wants to know about the occult. And so he tells her about the occult, and that's the end of that scene. It's just like world building, but not done very well. So she goes back to the school. I don't think anything else happens before she calls him again, just like, hey, it's Sarah's friend Susie again. So hey, about what you were telling me. And then it's like raining outside and lightning strikes, and so she loses connection, like the phone goes dead, and then goes back up to her room and then remembers the thing about like, oh, the teachers don't leave the building because the door's on the left and they go to the right, and we can count their steps. And so she counts the steps and then follows them until it comes to like the main area, which is like carpeted, and it has these 3 flowers on the wall. Oh right, I forgot to mention where the girl from the first little bit comes into play. So you know how I mentioned that she said something that we can't hear? Well, actually, Susie heard it, and throughout this entire movie she was like, oh yeah, that one girl who like ran away and got murdered. Oh yeah, she was talking about like some lilac or some secret or something. That's pretty weird. Or some iris, my bad. Some secret in like some iris or something. And so she gets there, and now, after she sees the 3 flowers on the wall in the room that she's been in multiple times, she's like, oh right, now I remember what she was saying. She was saying, there are 3 irises on the wall, turn the blue one. And so she turns the blue one, and she goes through this hallway that has like occult-ish writing on the wall, and she goes to the like end of the hall where she sees the like head teacher and the little boy. Oh yeah, also throughout this entire movie, I forgot to mention, she's like flirting with this guy and he's like flirting back, and so at the end we don't see him because he's not at all relevant to anything whatsoever. And so she sees the head teacher, the ballet teacher, the little boy, and this freaking creepy servant that they have who's probably been killing everyone. And so the head teacher is like, oh, hail Satan, I put this curse on this American girl, curse of sickness. And then she's like, oh, I'm feeling sick, and then immediately feels better, you know, as one does with a curse. And then the creepy servant is like, or no, the boy is like, hey, she's over there, to the creepy servant. And so the creepy servant takes out like a lighter so that he can see, and walks down the hall, and she like sneaks off into a room, which ends up being the directress's room, and she knocks over a statue, and then the directress wakes up. Oh yeah, also she sees Sarah's dead body. So the directress wakes up and is like, oh, you're that American girl, well, I'm gonna kill you now. Open door number 3, and then Sarah's reanimated dead body comes out behind just like a random door in the room, and stuff like starts blowing up around the room, and the directress starts laughing, and then Susie just picks up a spike and just stabs the directress, and she's like, ah, and dies. And then Susie runs out of the school, and it catches fire. Roll credits. So this movie was fine, honestly. Like, it had good flesh effects, like in the scene where the blind man died and the dog was like ripping at his flesh. I thought that was really cool. I thought that was really well done with the flesh and everything. The music was good, if not kind of overused. They had one music, and during like tense scenes, there were like two scenes, like at the very beginning and then like somewhere toward the end, there was like sort of like wailing going on in the background, but it really sounded like Mario dying like a freaking the acting was pretty good, I guess. I watched the dubbed version, so I didn't watch in the original Italian. I couldn't find the original Italian with true subtitles. The direction was really good. I did like the cinematography. Dario Argentino did a very good job with that. However, so I did mention the flesh was good, the blood was not, which I've been excusing for like Jaws or like some of the other ones. I feel like I was like, oh yeah, it's fine because like they were kind of older, but this was post-Carrie that had realistic blood. I'm not sure if you could get corn syrup in Italy or Germany or wherever Dario Argentino was filming it, but after Carrie, or well, I guess it was in production at the same time as Carrie, but it was released after Carrie that did have good realistic blood, or more realistic blood, I suppose. So yeah, it was too bright, really reminded me of like the Exorcist blood, the little bit of blood that was in the Exorcist. So I made this, I made a mention of this in my Texas Chainsaw Massacre video. I don't like stupid characters. Like, when a character is unnecessarily dumb just for body count, I don't like it. So this applies to Sarah's death scene, where she just like sits crying in a corner the whole time while the killer is just incredibly dumb trying to jimmy the lock that is just literally move your arm up, not your wrist. It's not that hard a concept. So the killer was dumb, Sarah was dumb because she didn't do anything, and then once she actually got to a situation where she could do something, just like a little, like, friggin' doors here, little leap to the door, or even leap to most of the way to the door, she just did a little hop right into barbed wire, which she saw because you could see that her eyes went down, she looked down, she could see it. Also, during where Susie was like walking the same path that the teachers did, she's like through her movements, it's pretty obvious she's like sneaking around, but she's wearing high heels, which is dumb. So yeah, the characters were bad, which is also a product of just not very good writing. Like I said at the very beginning, the story's just pretty disconnected. Like, the events could happen basically in any order except for Sarah's death scene in the end. Also, just the way it started, and even with Sarah's death scene, like, yeah, there had been mention of witches up to that point. This movie really needed to figure out whether it was a slasher movie or an occult movie. And it definitely did lean more toward occult, but especially with the way it began, it was not very clear, and I just don't think that was done super well. Content warnings, animal cruelty, Susie needlessly kills a bat. For violence and gore, so my editor has been putting in a gore line, where Halloween's on the low end, Evil Dead's on the high end. I would put this at like a 60, because, yeah, the blood doesn't happen, like, very often, but when it does, it's like kind of a lot, but it's also not very realistic. Mild language, there weren't any F words, so I didn't really keep track of language. I think there were like 3 B words or something. But yeah, so I would not recommend this as a first horror movie, 1, because I just don't personally think it's all that good, and 2, because it is pretty violent. So on a technical rating, I gave it a 7 out of 10, considering moving it to 6 out of 10. Yeah, I think 6 out of 10, actually. But on my personal rankings of the top 100. I put it at number 11 on like how much I would like to rewatch it. So that is below Jaws and above Exorcist. So yeah, that's the end of the review portion. I will be doing the scratch off now, but that's all for me. So yeah, see you in the next one. Okay, today we are scratching off Suspiria, which is number 15. Real quick, I'll go through the rest of the movies. So we have Halloween 1978, The Thing 1982, Exorcist 1973, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 1974, Nightmare on Elm Street 1984, Alien 1979, Shining 1980, Scream 1996, Night of the Living Dead 1968, Jaws 1975, Evil Dead 1981, Psycho 1960, Hereditary 2018, Hellraiser 1987, and now we have Suspiria from 1977. So let's get right into it. We have the title here, and then I can't tell if that's supposed to be Susie or not. I don't know. Okay, so we have the title still down there. I know now that is Susie. Don't know what the diamond is all about. I'm pretty sure that's the 1977 and not the 2018 version, but no idea. Not gonna watch the 2018 version. But yeah, that's the end of the video. Next video is American Werewolf in London. So yeah, thanks for watching.